stream is live. Evening, boys.
Evening. Welcome in. Good to see Dan awake. What time you go to work tonight, Dan?
I leave about 9:50.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been awake these last few nights with a cold, and I should have just been texting you, but
yeah, you should have. I've been awake.
So tonight, I have some apple cider in the cup. But what goes better with apple cider than some apple pie?
Or vodka.
Well, apple cider, apple pie, all good for me.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
A little extra apple flavor. Oh. Shout out to Dink and Addison, Woodworks Distillery, for making such a great product. Horns down, apple pie, and vodka.
Horns down, baby.
Give it a little stir here. All right, you boys are going to have to carry me until this stuff kicks in for me, because you can't tell, I don't feel that great.
All right, Dale.
Ooh.
I got strong shoulders and strong back.
Oh, that's good, because you already know you carry both of us come Saturday for awards.
That's right. That's right. Wichita Mountain Refuge this weekend for Ford Lakes. Run them.
Forgot to say, don't make me laugh. That'll get me in a coffin fit.
Yeah, so we got what? Quanah Parker, Jed Johnson, French, and Rush Lake. Is that right?
Yeah, I think those are the four good lakes. So last year for the team event, it was those four lakes in Lettra, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the first place came from Lettra. Chris Bloomfield. And his magic drop shot at Lettra. But did Modog and I come in second or third? And we fished Jed. And the other top three team, I want to say, was at Quanah Parker. So
I was thinking Shots did really well with somebody over at French, but I don't remember.
But I just remember last year the top three teams were all at three different bodies of water. And
French didn't have big fish. French didn't have big fish, but they had a lot of them. But heck, I don't remember. Maybe somebody in the chat will tell us that they can remember.
Yeah, somebody remind us of how that team event went down. I just remember Modog and I had a fun time at Jed Johnson all by ourselves. There was nobody there. And we had a great time.
And I know Dan pre-fished it because me and him pulled up to it that night before, and he was going to roll the 18-wheeler and the 53-foot trailer down it.
Yeah, so that was Quanah Parker. I did like Quanah Parker. It's a beautiful lake, but I will say with my 18-wheeler, 50-foot long trailer, I really struggled getting down that dirt ramp. And I was just talking to the guys earlier about this. I don't even know where I'm going to park to be able to pull the kayak off. I don't know. I might have to just park in the street and pull it off and then repark again. I don't know. But it was a pretty lake, lots of vegetation at that time.
Yeah, but all of them out there have a lot of vegetation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so we've been fishing some big open bodies of water with some structure, and now you get to play in the grass.
That's right.
Which I know Rocky loves throwing his punch rigs up in there.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
So what news do we got
looking forward
tonight?
to catching fish.
What news do we want to start with? Okay.
Throw up the Bassmaster.
Yeah. So Bassmaster yesterday announced Kayak Series Championship will be a standalone event at Lake Murray in South Carolina. dates for that are October 14th and 16th of this year. So it is kind of cool that the Kayak series, instead of piggybacking off the Bassmaster Classic, gets its own event.
Yeah, I was listening to Steve Owens live on his YouTube the other night about it, and then I just listened again to make sure. And he said it kind of been in the works for a couple of years to break off from the Classic, because the Classic was just taking so much of the attention away from everything. And so now they're going to have their own standalone event where they'll get to bring a lot of the Classic TV cameras and drones and stuff, instead of having them over at the Classic and setting up for that. They'll be standalone. They get more, hoping to get more media, get more vision without it being the stepbrother of the Classic. So that'd be cool.
What do you
Of course,
think,
you got to qualify for it, like we were talking earlier. We got to qualify.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, I'm looking for something else. I forgot to prep something here. So you guys keep talking while I find what it is I'm looking for on my computer.
I did see also online that Berkeley bait we talked about in the news last time is now on the shelves, and I saw a lot of people complaining about the price. I didn't go look it up to see what the price is, but sounds like it's out there and the shelves are already clearing. And I'll just look it up.
Yeah, I wasn't on last time. What bait is that? That's a great picture, by the way. That's awesome.
That's the one I was looking for, but not time for that one yet.
Yeah.
Not time for that one yet.
Man, that should be your profile picture.
It's a new minnow, Dan, that has scent built into it, and then the scent strings out into the water as if the fish is bleeding.
It kind of turns into a slime. It's a coating. Yeah, that kid won the Bassmaster Classic on it. Obviously video gaming with it, but he was able to put it right. It hadn't been released. They just gave him a bunch of them, and he tore up the Classic with it.
Huh.
Yeah, that's right. It's got a special coating that when it gets in the water, it turns real slimy and slippery and sticky at the same time. I don't know. They figured something out, but it leaves a trail of scent, a real trail.
Technology. Science.
Yeah. So should we go over the results of our team event real quick?
You bet.
All right. So there's our team event.
Called the
Mr.
Berkeley.
Lance Hodges kicked every team's butt.
It's not. I don't see it. I don't know if you have it pulled up or not.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm glad you said something. How about that? Now is that working?
Yeah.
There you go.
Mr. Lance Hodges beat every team by himself.
Way to go, Lance.
Yeah. Didn't you say that you watched him catch a couple of his 18s or 20s?
I watched him catch the 6.34 pound one right in front of me in the wind in the middle of the afternoon with about 10 minutes left with a black buzzbait.
Black buzzbait.
And then you had the Law Dogs come in second.
You know, I got to say, one thing I love about team events is that the creativity and funness of the team names.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, so I got paired with Barry, and being my first year with a motor, and if you know Barry at all, you know he's a motorhead. He's all about going fast in cars and trucks, whatever. And Team Motorhead took us about 10 seconds to come up with. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bass Ackwards.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Of course, Bass Holes is classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they could have been CNC fishing machine. Corey and Curtis. Or is that too old? Am I going too far back in time to the 80s and 90s to CNC Music Factory?
Oh, that's where we were, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they went with TNT instead of 2 Tims.
Yeah. Well,
But it's all good.
But
no, fun event.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Lance ended up with 12 fish. I love the unlimited part of the team thing. But you see Lance kind of ran away by catching 12. That's how he did it.
Well, of course, when you get a 20 and a 21, that don't hurt.
Well, no, you got a 22, 2.5, a 21,
22, a 21,
5,
and a 20.
Yeah, so I mean, he's already over 60 inches with 3 fish. Reminds me of fishing Arbuckle. I only caught 3 fish that day and had 60 inches. But then so I had a great day. I finished 4th overall, but
yeah,
of course, Big Mike had to. If there had been an individual event, Big Mike would have kicked me out of the money. And that's, if you know Big Mike, he's usually sitting one spot out of the money. And I know he's hearing this because if you read the description for tonight, the most well-known person in the state, I'll just say it, Big Mike's our guest tonight.
Heck yeah.
Because we're going to talk about some stuff.
Oh, man.
Some things. And
hold on, I got a weather nerd. I got a weather nerd alert from oldest son here. I got to take a look here.
Well, you better take that quick because we were about to get to your segment. And people are messing with you in the chat about one fish.
Yeah, to my son and my buddy. 2 PDS tornadoes in Mississippi. Whew.
You weather nerds.
We are. I mean, if I brought up my X account right now, it's nothing but college softball and weather alerts from all over the place. I think I only follow 4 weather accounts, but one of them's the National Weather Service, the Oklahoma Severe Storms Center, and so yeah, wherever they post, I get it. So, all right, Papa Rock. Time for the Papa Rock soapbox. What you got for us?
I don't have too much of a soapbox tonight, but I guess I'll key off of what you and Dan been talking about. Besides the fact, a couple of my son and my best friend from Missouri busted my balls over one fish because I can't slow down enough to bed fish. But what we were talking about earlier in the chat is these damn fuel prices. Dale's telling me 409 and 419 down in that neck of the woods, and whatever the hell's going on, it's crazy, just crazy times. Hopefully that doesn't affect some of us guys that got to travel and help and fish with y'all. But man, we got to get these fuel prices under control. But that's about it for the rant. I don't have much of a rant this week. We had such a wonderful time
in Duncan
Lakes, and this week's rant's really about you and your lines out, so I'll leave you with that. I won't steal your thunder on lines out. And
all right.
I don't have a whole lot this week. We had a great week. Everybody had fun. We had a good camp out, and I'm looking forward to this week. Looking forward to getting back to fishing the grass edges, hoping that there's some lily pads on Quanah, just anything fun, stuff I'm used to. I had a hell of a time. I did good at Foss, and then I turned around and I went to Duncan and watched people ripping off the beds, and I tried the same thing, and I couldn't go slow enough. I'm too impatient, I guess. But no big rant this week. Everybody's having a wonderful time. Looking forward to getting back together this week with y'all and getting after it.
I will say the one thing that I do love about the team event is learning new ways to fish.
Yeah.
So getting teamed up with different people that you've never fished with before, and now you have to fish with them in their spots. And so I tried to learn a drop shot a couple of years ago when Scott Zimmerman was kicking my butt at broken bow with it. Well, guess what? Barry's throwing a wacky worm, and I'm like, okay, we got to slow down. So I'm throwing a drop shot. And before I knew it, I was catching fish on a drop shot.
We didn't even slow down like that. I didn't put a wacky on. We just stayed with the – I know Danny did great with his ATV red. I put a red on. I couldn't slow down enough. Kept hanging in trees and stuff with them when I slowed down my square bill. So summer's coming. I'll heat up.
Well, since we're talking square bills, let's get Mr. Square Bill himself, Mr. Big Mike, on.
Hey, Mike.
What's going on, guys? Let me.
Mr. Square Bill,
master himself.
I got to turn my light off. It's giving that halo effect. There we go.
How are you, Big Mike? Welcome, buddy.
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, I hear Dale's still a little sour over there in the corner.
Yeah,
you could say that. You could say that.
Yeah, I think he's sitting on a donut still. I think it gave him a hemorrhoid. He's so sour.
Right.
You could say that.
But hurt.
Well, okay. So I was trying to do a poll, and I'm going to have MoDog teach me how to do a chat poll. But what is the definition of lines out?
So
what is the public definition of lines out? To me, it always meant you had to have your line out of the water, no longer fishing when that time came.
Yes and no. Like I told you at the ramp. So you as a tournament director can designate your time out submission in your tourney X. The typical standard is always 2:59:59, and I've seen some tournaments do 3:00:59 because technically that's still 3:00, but it's past 3:00. I've seen them do that, so they all kind of reverted back to the 2:59:59 rule because essentially that's 3:00. If you got your line in the water at 2:59:58 and you hook a fish, there is no possible way you can land it, photograph it, and submit it with before that 3:00 timestamp. So that's kind of what the standard has always been across tournaments. Far back as Hobie, the BBKC at the Beaver Bend Classic, that was the standard. 2:59:59 is kind of what it's always been.
Yeah,
And
I usually look down at the live scope and it says about 2:55, 2:56, and I just start folding up the poles and picking up my trash with my feet.
Oh yeah,
that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Barry and I were so close because as the standings showed, I'll go back to them here. Let me get back. Yeah, the team standings. This is exactly how the team standings looked at 2:59:45. And at 2:59:46, my partner, Barry, hooks into an 18 or 16-inch fish. When you do the math, that puts us half an inch ahead of you.
Yes.
But the photograph didn't make it in time. Which brings me to, I'm immediately on the phone with Rocky. Hey, we got a fish on. I know lines out just happened, but I looked over, his pole's bent down. He caught the fish before lines out. Lines out to me means quit fishing, and he caught it before that time happened, so I thought it was good. Well, then Lance at awards goes and digs into my own rules here.
I'm glad you clarified it like that. Your own rules.
Some idiot wrote in the rules for submitting your fish. All fish must be photographed by the lines out time established by the tournament directors.
Yeah.
I got to talk to this idiot that wrote that rule in there and cost me a second place team finish.
I think it was actually Chad Hoover. Isn't that where they all came from?
Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
I love it.
That's what I'm looking for. That's Barry and I should have those plaques. Except some idiot put in the rule that you've been talking about that it didn't count because we couldn't get the photograph by lines out time.
And of course, then by the time we all sat down, Go Fish Solutions, Josh Booth kicks the fish back out because he knows the timing.
Right.
Well, he did his job. It's gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Barry and I had such a great cruise back across Humphreys. We were hooping and hollering and, high-fiving, chest bumping, fist bumping at the ramp. I mean, we just pulled off the most epic.
So, if it makes you feel any better, me and my partner only had 5 fish at 1 o'clock. We was on a struggle bus, and he missed a 20 beside the boat, and I missed another 18 beside my boat. And I said, "Look, dude, we gotta shake off the bad juju. Let's make a move." I said, "We got to make a move." We made a move, and he caught his 4 in a 5-yard stretch. And I caught my 4th and 5th one in that same 5-yard stretch. He was throwing a wacky rig, and you know what I was throwing. I was throwing a square bill.
Of course you were.
And I catch my third 18 off a little stick up, and then he caught his final 16-inch fish deep in some brush. And if we'd have caught everything that bit us that day, we'd have competed with the stick master up there with first place, because all we needed was 14-inch fish to be right there with him. But we didn't fish clean, so hats off to those guys.
Yeah, I had a couple of short strikes as well, but about to knock over my horns down display.
It was a fun event. We're sure glad you and Matt made the trip down too, Mike. It was cool.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, we definitely like seeing other members from different clubs coming, and vice versa too. We like going to other clubs as well. I mean, Rocky and I fished the OKC KFC. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, now it's a great time going out there. Of course we're representing Woka out there, and it was a great group of guys out there. So it's really cool to see people going around in different trails.
Yeah, I do my best to fish with the OKC guys a lot, and of course OKA, but then get around to the other clubs. I know everybody that's fished everything, so kind of get out and say, "Hey, what's up?" I got to make it down to one of the Southern guys events whenever they don't line up with some OKA stuff, but I'll make it down that way.
Where's okay? Are you guys fishing this weekend or are you off?
We're off this weekend. OKC has one. I'm actually bowing out of the next 2. Kind of surprised you guys. I'm jumping in a couple of big bass boat tournaments.
All right. So no Conoway for you.
Yeah, no Conoway for me. I'm bowing out, fishing a boat tournament on Sooner this weekend, and then I'm fishing the Falcon Rod Series up on Grand Lake the weekend after that.
Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about that when we were at Birchie.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're not going to cut a little Pelican kayak into pieces and put it on the back deck, are you?
Definitely not.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Who's fishing at Sooner this weekend? What's that league?
Payne County Anglers.
It's kind of close to home for you, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know Sooner real well, too. So.
Yeah, I've been there a few times or two. Maybe might have won 1 or 2 out there.
Oh, okay.
You
You've
just
been
don't
to
go
about
when it's
every
windy.
lake, though.
Yeah, actually, me and Dan had a good day out there a couple years back.
Yeah, so that was my man. It was so windy. Mike's just sitting up right in front of some brush piles, and I'm over here on the struggle bus trying to stay in one spot. And that's when I was like, "That's it. I've really got to commit to getting spot lock."
Yeah,
and
I was wrecking them on a square bill out there in them trees, and I said, "Dan, come on over, man. You got to get some of this."
And my first tournament ever was on Sooner with OKA. Jason Raid invited me, and I went and bought a kayak. And it was your February, like your opener event where it's not for February fundraiser. and there's ice floating.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Buying a kayak and fishing with these guys? February 23rd on Sooner. It was the year the plant was having a turnaround, so there was no warm water.
None at all. It was frozen.
Oh.
But yeah, it was good times out there in the cold weather.
Yeah, man, it was good times. Had a good time with Jason, but yeah, so cool, man, on Sooner, and then Falcon on Grand. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I spent so we fished Hudson this past weekend on Saturday. It sucked, big one. A lot of dead fish floating around Hudson. They had a big fish kill up there. All the bottom feeders were floating around the lake, so it made it really tough. We had 22 zeros out of 50. So if that tells you how tough it is, only 6 limits. So it was a tough day. But then I got a little redemption on Sunday. I went and fished Grand Lake, my buddy in his boat, and we stuck about 22 pounds in the boat pretty easily.
You had redemption the day after.
The
you
day
needed
after,
it.
yes.
Yeah. That always helps.
I need that for the soul.
Yes. Yeah. Man, many times after fishing some when I first started really following trails in Oklahoma, I just zeroed a lot, and I would have to go to some honey holes and brighten the spirits back up.
That's right.
That's what I do. Go to the honey holes, take the same baits I had yesterday, and then they hit. I'm like, all right, maybe
it's all good after that. Once you get that rod bit, you forget all the troubles from the day before.
That's right. Yeah. Tell your buddies to get on here and start beating you up about it. But
that's right.
It makes me thick-skinned. So yeah. But man, I didn't think I would, but I'm thoroughly enjoying making a run, to Central Oklahoma for OKC in the middle of the week. That's kind of breaks up my week. I've been enjoying going with that group and going to Birchie and going to Guthrie. That was a cool place, beautiful little lake. So I'm looking forward to the next time they spin the wheel for a Tuesday or Thursday nighter. So
yeah, that'll be after this week. Yeah, I like the Tuesday and Thursday nighters. After work, I usually leave work an hour or so early, load up the trailer, hit the lake. It's always fun. 3 fish limits are pretty common, but sometimes it can be tough.
Yep.
Yeah, it works out good for me because every other week I have a Tuesday and Wednesday off, so nice. It's pretty easy going for me.
You guys are doing a great job. Keep going, because I'm over here trying not to cough.
The semi-retired, not retired guys over the corner trying to think of.
So, Mike, what did they say about the fish killed? Did they ever come back with a determination? I thought I saw a note where they even told you guys might clean your boats and clean your equipment, but what did they come up with there?
Well, unofficially, they're trying to say that the carp spawn usually kills off a bunch of carp anyway, but because of the high flooding from the water coming in out of Grand, stressed out a lot of the fish, and they started dying off. That's the unofficial. I don't think that's the case. But I'm not no biologist, and I don't do that. For the number of fish that I saw the 2 days I was there, and just the different species of fish. You're talking about carp, you're talking about drum, you're talking about shad, you're talking about catfish. I even saw a couple of spoonbills. So it's a lot of species of fish. I think there's something else going on, but no official word yet. And not to mention that the ramp I was at, there were 6 wildlife trucks and a couple of boats launching out of there trying to figure stuff out.
So they were trying to figure it out. It wasn't just, there was a fish kill. The state actually was showing up.
Yeah.
To try to figure stuff out.
Yeah, they're trying
to
figure it out. Yeah. Now, I kind of believe some of it might be just from the seasonal spawn of those, bottom feeders, but not that number of fish. It's a lot.
Wow.
All right.
So when's the next kayak tournament for you there, Big Mike?
Yeah.
What are you getting back on the water with the?
We'll be back on. We'll be at Texoma May 30th, I believe.
May 30th.
Unless OKC drops one between the 16th and the 30th. That's when I'll be back. Going down to Texoma. And I don't know if you guys have done a lot with the bigger lakes as far as permitting. The prices for permits have gotten astronomical. I mean, high. They've gone from what used to be a $50 permit to now a $250 permit, and sometimes in excess of $300 just for a tournament. That's why you see a lot of the bigger tournaments that draw those big lakes. You don't see some of the smaller ones going back there. We had Pine Creek on our schedule for end of the month, and they want $250 for a permit fee. And, as a board member of the OKA now, I just couldn't see us paying that and then passing that back over to the anglers because somehow or another it's got to get paid. So we started looking for lakes that didn't charge that $250 fee. And then some of them, they even told us that if you guys don't have a big trailer, big tent, big weigh-in, fish catching trailers and all that stuff, we don't care. It's meant for those bigger tournaments that bring in those big trailers, big weigh-in, tents and all that stuff.
So far, we haven't made it anywhere where they've requested money. I usually roll in the Foss and tell the kids at the front gate or Crowder, and nobody's ever said a word to us. And so hopefully maybe that money-making kind of thing doesn't move west of I-35 on some of our smaller stuff. But so far, we've been in good shape. Yeah,
anything that's dealing with the core lakes are getting high. Fortunately, GRDA is still relatively inexpensive. The last one on Hudson was only $55. But I think as time changes, people are going to start wanting more money for these events.
Good to know.
Yeah, that is good to know.
What does our end of the month look like? I was going to go look.
Our end of the month. So we've got our event Saturday, and then we don't fish again until June.
We have a month-long online one coming up, though, don't we?
August.
That's August.
Oh, that's not for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Might
That's
have
to keep people out of the heat and get the kids back in school and not have to worry about people. I can't make it because my kid's going to school or it's tax-free weekend, shopping, whatever. You got the whole month to fish that.
I'll probably make a run with OK to Texoma then.
Well, and I was going to offer Big Mike my services. They don't come cheap, but all you got to do is follow me around and let me throw at stuff for 5 minutes and then come right behind me. Guaranteed, 18, 20-inch fish, Rocky? What were you catching right behind me?
20-inch fish got me second place at Texoma. I was a half an inch from smacking the back of his boat with a square bill into the rocks where he had been sitting there pitching his spinners. He moved up a little bit. I whipped right in there and just exploded.
He just needs to be beat to death with a crankbait rod and maybe
that's right.
One more often.
No. Hey, I know your second bait that you love to throw is a Texas rig, so I'm working to get soft plastics into my arsenal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely getting there. So like at Humphreys, I was throwing my spinner bait. Didn't throw it a whole lot, but I like you. If you don't throw a square bill, even though they don't hit it, if you don't throw a square bill, did you actually go fishing? That's how I am. I got to throw a spinner bait. Yeah, I got to feel that vibration and know that I threw it. But I think I threw it for 30 minutes, and then the other 7.5 hours was a drop shot.
Yeah, no, that's too slow for me. I'd be done.
Hey, man.
Choke myself to death. Drop shot, wacky rig. Now, if you ever see me Ned rigging, that's hoping and praying.
And then Dan sits there in one spot for 8 hours
day
with a Ned rig and a jig, trying to catch a rock, and then he catches fish. I'm like, damn it, Dan.
Well, it's usually the wacky rig and the swim jig and the crankbait. Those are my three really go-tos this season so far.
Yeah, he basically beats the fish over the head with all of them until they finally are like, fine, I'll bite one of them. Just leave me alone.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
I'll pass Dan 4 or 5 times in a day, and he has not moved. I
At
swear
all.
his battery doesn't drain except for spot lock because it just doesn't move.
I mean, if I catch a fish there, I'm gonna beat it up. I'm gonna pick it all the way apart, until I'm really, really discouraged. Then I'll go venture off.
In other words, when there's an hour left and he needs to cull 1 or 2 fish.
Yeah.
I just can't slow down like that. I got to learn though.
Well, I learned that you don't have to fish super slow with the drop shot because I was throwing it at the same structure I was throwing my spinnerbait. But it's something you said, Rocky, from Foss. You were throwing up into the grass.
Yeah.
Well, I threw that drop shot up there. I'd let it sit just a second, and then the line would start moving out. And that's when I caught the fish.
That's how it was at Foss. I'd bomb it up into those cattails, and the further I could get it up in there, the more they would hit at it as I was coming out. So,
well, there wasn't a lot of grass up there. It was just little clumps and pockets of grass. But if I could get it in there, and there was one in there, he would see that robo worm and decide he had to have it.
I think what I'm going to do is if I end up, all those lakes that we're going to this weekend, I might have to pull the trolling motor up some because right now it's all sitting all the way down. And last time I was at Quanah, man, it seemed like every 5-10 minutes I'm pulling it up, getting all the vegetation off of it.
Yeah.
Last year at Jed Johnson, I was constantly, and I was using my pedals, and I was constantly having to clear that. One time I was clearing the pedals and I saw some braided line. I went, that doesn't look right. And then a rod tip comes out. I was like, that's really bad. So I immediately spun around and counted all my rods to make sure I had them all. And I just kept pulling grass and line and everything else. And I ended up with a Revo. It was a nice Garcia reel on a cheap rod that somehow had gotten wrapped up in the grass in my prop. And yeah.
Can't beat that.
And that was at Jed, so.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about one other rule thing here. So it's something I noticed with OKA. Rocky, before I start coughing, you know where we're going, so you bring it up.
So we have been pushing pretty hard because we had an instance last year, and our pictures show it. And I don't know if it came from KBF or what, but we've been really pushing to keep people from touching and having their hand across the tail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's our picture there. You guys, when you're judging your fish in OKA, are you worried about that tail in that area at all?
No. So
that's what I was telling some of the guys. Is some trails will allow you to take a picture with the tail pinch.
Yes.
And some won't. And we don't have it. We don't allow the tail pinch in ours.
Yeah. I mean, I always kidded around with, early on in OKA presidency that I prefer no hands on the fish at all. Then that way you have no discrepancies, no chance for errors or someone trying to cut tails off fish and hide them to make them longer. That eliminates all of the issues that everybody talks about, where the hand placement should be. But again, controlling the fish, keeping the fish on the board, make sure you're getting the most out of that fish. You have to put your hands on them at some point. Me, if you look at 90% of my photos, there's no hands on the fish unless I'm trying to gain that extra, 10th of an inch to get that next mark. 90% of my fish have no hands on the fish. That's just how I take the picture. I don't ever want to be an issue when it comes to judging and stuff like that. I think that the rule came about somewhere a couple years ago. Somebody had cut a fish, took the tail of another fish that was longer, transposed it over the top, hit it with his hand. And when you look at the tail of the fish, it's like the long, skinny middle finger sticking way out there that didn't look right. It was caught immediately, but how many times before had that passed by the tournament director who missed it? And that's when a lot of trails were like, we don't want your hand anywhere past the caudal fin on the fish, which is the very base of the top dorsal fin, toward the back end, the bottom fin, the caudal fin. They don't want your hands anywhere past those. And that's how that happened. For us in the OK, we look pretty hard in the judging of those. And we haven't had anyone that we suspected of doing any of that kind of cheating, anything like that. We have asked anglers for a secondary picture when we felt like their hand was covering up too much of the tail. Like they're out there with the hands at the very end of the tip of the tail, and they're trying to squeeze it down, and they got more hand than tail. We'll ask for another fish photo. Because most of us anglers, we take multiple photos. I take 4 or 5 of each fish, manipulate however I need to, try to get the best photo, and then they typically submit a new one. So
I'm personally not for or against it. That was just the rules that we had. So we had to abide by them. And so it might be something to look at in the future and maybe bring up to our anglers at the end of the year. Hey, where do you want to go next year with this part of it? Because we are a pretty trustworthy group across Oklahoma here. But
like I said, we haven't seen too many issues with it. And I think that, the rules kind of are self-explanatory. Any fish can be questioned. If you have any thought that somebody may have done something to that fish. Like we had an angler one year, he would take the picture of the fish, put it in his photo gallery, and then he'd upload it to some app that would change the orientation, but then that would also change the metadata that went with it. So when he submitted it back to Tourney X from that app, it would give us a red flag saying something wrong with this fish. So we had to call him out and say, dude, what are you doing to your fish? Because it's not saying that this is a true image of the fish. It's like you took a picture of a picture. So what are you doing? So then he finally said, hey, all I do is put them in an app, rotate them so that when I submit them, they're facing the right way. They're not upside down or whatever. I said, well, stop doing that. Because, according to the rules, you're not supposed to change or alter the photos. And that app is actually altering that photo in the background and metadata. So it was causing the problem. So we had to stop him from doing that. And I think that's probably been the biggest technology problem with, people submitting fish over the last few years. And again, things that you guys may think about moving forward is AI. There was a big deal I think about 6 months ago, where a guy was submitting the same fish throughout multiple tournaments using AI to change the size and the look of the fish, and also tournament indicators, ID numbers. And then they finally said, hey, that's the same fish been submitted across different nations.
Different states, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was across different locations. And it's finally, and I think that Dwayne does a great job at Tourney X, that he has all the AI tracking stuff in the background that catches those things like that. So he does a really good job with doing all that. Anytime you guys have any problems on Tourney X, you can call that man personally, and he'll help you fix whatever problems you got, walk you through it. And if there's something that he can't fix right then, he'll get with his team, and they'll be like, let's figure it out.
I mean, honestly, that's why we went with Tourney X this year, was all that AI stuff over the winter time. We sat down and we're like, all right, not that we suspect anybody in our group is going to use AI, but just because it blew up so nationally and virally within the kayak community, we're like, all right, Dwayne's doing all this work with Tourney X to prevent it. Let's just start using Tourney X, and that automatically helps ensure people are not messing with their photos.
Yeah. And plus it's been a real help for us, at the end of the day, logging all that stuff, and that's what our group wanted.
Yeah. It keeps track of everything that you guys catch, every fish that the angler catches. I don't know, you guys are fresh into it, but the longer you use Tourney X, and people start catching fish in the same bodies of water, it'll show you when you go to judge the fish, it'll say this fish looks similar to this fish that was caught on this date and this time. And then you have to go in and identify, okay, different time, different location, similar fish, but not the same fish. So it kind of helps you say, okay, we're flagging this, but it's not a red flag where we're saying these fish look similar. and it's helped us, especially when we had an incident at Eufaula a couple years ago where somebody submitted the same fish twice, and we didn't catch it till at the award ceremony. But then after we caught it ended up flip flopping first and second place.
I remember that.
It was a big mess. So.
Yeah, I saw something online just the other night. One of the girls fishing Bassmaster Kayak, I believe, caught the same fish 22 minutes later. And because she's a big Star Wars fan, she noticed a notch on its tail. And she says, "Oh, Yoda." I'm not a Star Wars fan. 22 minutes later, she takes the same fish and enters it and says, "What the heck?" and looks. And she's like, "Oh, my gosh, it's got the same tail." And Tourney X kicked it out 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
And she wasn't upset, but she showed it online, showed a video, circled the 2 spots, caught the same fish 22 minutes later. I thought that was crazy.
That time of year when they're hungry, you can cook the fish, throw it back in the water, 2 minutes later, hook again. It's just, and that just protects people from, fishing an area and catching the same fish over and over.
Yeah, that was, I was at that tournament. And that's kind of where I got the staying in one spot from, because he stayed on that point the entire tournament. And I talked to him after the tournament because we launched at the same spot. He was like, I fished that same spot and I'd wait for him to load back up again.
Yeah,
and that's how he ended up catching the same fish twice. He wasn't doing anything nefarious.
We might want to look at Dan's fish closely. He might have caught the same fish 5 times in 7 hours.
No, but I need to myself. I need to really pay attention to that as well, because that would really suck, man.
Yeah. That kind of goes against everything we've heard about fish behavior. And we like to joke about sore lipping on practice days, especially the day before. But hear all these stories of, I caught the same fish 22 minutes later.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just that certain time of year where they're feeding up hard and heavy, right after the spawn and right before the spawn. They, those fish eat anything you put out there. A wet hook with nothing on it, they're just feeding up. And it happens. I know I talk to guys all the time. And, I caught the same fish 5 minutes apart. Almost in the same exact spot.
Well, especially if they're on beds and you release them close enough that they can immediately go back to it. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not eating the feed. Then they're eating because they're pissed off something's about to get their eggs.
Yeah. They were trying to knock your lure out of the way, and it just happened to hook them.
Yeah.
Now, did I just say hook them? I'm sorry. I would never say hook them that way.
So what else have you seen over the years, Mike? I mean, anything else we need to be watching out for just as a group, not trying to pick on all our friends in the chat, but just as a groups of, we all hang out together and stuff. Is there anything that comes to mind that keeps us all fresh and good?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you guys a lot of stories from over the years, but I think the one that always stands out to me is that, you have board members who do well in your tournaments and consistently do well, or you have somebody who is on your board that is a stellar stick. And just because they're on the board, they start throwing those innuendos out there that they got to be cheating. They got to be looking at the data. They got to be doing this. They got to be doing that. So I would encourage you guys that whoever sets up your Tourney X, make that data not available to everybody once the tournaments are over. Who's ever judging them, once they've been judged, that data goes to archive, and that one person has the ability to go look at it if they need to, and so we found out that it all, they started accusing the board of not outright accusing, but the rumors kind of got floating around that people are cheating, that the board members can't be fishing that well, and I'll tell you that the OKA board had some of the best anglers in Oklahoma on the board.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those deals where they put the time in, we put the time in, and we fish well, we fish consistent. Win or lose, we're always in the top and thick of things. And it's not because, of any kind of cheating. It's just the fact that we love to fish and we're going to go out there and put our best foot forward. So that's the best advice I give you guys, is that at the end of the day, one person should just kind of have the keys to that. Especially after you got the offsite judging done. I don't know if anybody has access to all that, but right now we're doing our own judging. So we try to stay away from, once the tournament's over, that tournament goes to the archive. You can't pull it back up and view it as a director, but I can go to my personal account and view my personal account, see where, my standings, how I did, and all those things. But aside from going in and seeing everybody else, that should I would recommend that you guys lock that down, and then that way you can always say nobody has access to it but me, and then that would eliminate some of the especially when you start seeing going to these, you guys have common lakes you go to all the time, and you show up to a spot and somebody say, well, I've never seen you fish here before. I was like, dude, it's a big ass lake. I can fish where I want. I might have been fishing points one day on the lake, come back the next day, I'm going to fish inside or outside bins or be in the back of pockets or fishing docks, because that's something you did. Doesn't mean it's something I did or I saw you doing it and I thought it followed you and do it. But anyway, there's a lot of that goes with being on the board. A lot of the people always questioning what it is you do, how you do it, and how did you get to where you're at.
So Rocky's the one with the Tourney X account that sets all up our Tourney X's.
Yep.
And,
then it goes to the judge. Then the judge takes it, and then afterwards, once nobody has protested, Josh kicks at the archives and sends me a note and says, "All right, you're done." And we move on to the next one. It falls off the chart, and the way it goes.
Yeah. And if you've looked at results, you know that nobody's going to accuse me or Rocky of cheating by looking at those things. But Dan, on the other hand, has been fairly consistent top 5.
Yeah, but we can't accuse Dan of it because he just goes to one spot and
I mean, you know where Dan caught all of his fish. You just had to look.
Yeah, everyone ends up going by me and seeing me.
Yeah, everybody does.
They're all headed away from the ramp, back to the ramp. Dan hadn't moved.
Yeah,
right.
But I will say, Dan reminds me a lot of Jason Ray at 10 Killer. He's like, I don't care how many damn boats are out there. I'm going out in the middle of that thing with my Ned rig and whatever else.
Yeah.
And there was boats everywhere, and he cruised out there, and down he went with his anchor and had at it. And
he sat out there all day till he almost sunk his boat.
I mean, he was up and down.
Yeah.
So
he don't care. He'll get out there in the thick of it with him. He doesn't mind.
Yeah.
I enjoy the being able to float in less than 2 feet of water too much, getting away from all the boats.
Yeah, now I don't mind so much being around the boats. I just hate that the big boats have zero etiquette.
Yeah,
they think because you're in a plastic kayak that you have to give way to them, and then I always give them a healthy education of why they shouldn't do what they do.
Yeah,
and they usually pick up and leave. But I think it's gotten better over the years. Because I remember when I started this back in, started my first tournament back in 2018. Bass boats didn't care nothing about kayaks. They would fly by you on plane at 70 and hope that you survived. And now most of them will come off plane, give you plenty of room to get around and keep on trucking. So
honestly, I'd rather him go by me at 70 than plowing water and creating a bigger wave.
Oh no, I'd rather.
I mean, I say 70.
Yeah,
I want the least amount of wake possible. And bass boats, the faster they're going, the less they're in the water and more on the water. Yeah. But if you've ever fished La Tonka down here on a Saturday between Memorial Day and Labor Day, it's not bass boats you're worried about. It's the wakeboarders.
Like being in a wash machine when you get down that south end of that lake.
Yeah.
No fun at all. I've been there a couple times.
The day before Fuquay, I visited with a glitter rocket guy. I was in the lightning horn went off and they told us to get off the lake. So I went over and a glitter rocket guy come over and he asked me, he said, you guys having a tournament here tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. And so I told him what we were doing. And he said they were having a little tournament too. And we just got to talking. He's like, a lot of tournament boat guys now, if they get in a cove and they see there's a kayak, they know how slow we pick it apart. He says, I just turn around and leave. He says, I won't even follow you. I won't try and go ahead of you. He says, you guys go in there and instead of just throwing a couple lures and then moving and throwing lures, he says, you guys pick those holes bad. He says, if I see a kayak in a cove, I leave. He says, it does not work for me because we go slower and we pick it apart. And he's like, you know, used to I'd get mad and everything. He's like, now I just turn and say, all right, different place. And I saw that a couple times last year. I don't know where we were. There was a boat tournament, but a guy come in there and saw us and just turned around and left.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's gotten better over the years. They realize that we're good anglers just like they're trying to be, and just because our boats are smaller doesn't mean we can't fish as good as they can.
That's true. Well, a lot of times we'll outfish them.
Oh yeah. I tell them.
Oh yeah, and you can see that a lot with the results at the end of the days on some of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we ran into 3 boats at Humphreys, and every one of them were like, "You guys fishing a tournament?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Which way are you guys going next?" We'll go the opposite way.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just out there having a good time fishing with their grandkids or whatever, but they asked us. They're like, "Where are you moving to? Are you guys gonna?" But they wanted to know just so they could stay out of our way.
Yeah, it seems to be getting a little better. And like I say, I've noticed it too with Mike. What Mike was saying, I've noticed now that more and more boaters are coming in and just pulling out of the throttle and trying to not create a wake. Where a couple of years ago they would come in and just wash you, board you. So you're seeing a lot of them pull back. So very good. Anything else for us, guys? That's about it, Micah. We usually wrap up about 8, but appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you helping us. Appreciate you soothing Dale's butthurt.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you were invited so I could vent.
One more time.
Yeah, there you go.
Right on my coffee table. Man, I tell you what.
You know, that should be like right about here. I should have that right about there.
So I'm gonna show you this, Rocky, and you guys may have to do this. So I have these are little plaque holders that I got for the smaller plaques. They're about 3 inches, about 4 inches. And I said, okay, I got these. I'm gonna try to set that plaque up on it, and it fell over. Almost broke my coffee table. I had to go out and get this 10-inch tall metal thing to hold that plaque up. So Dale, next time you have a tournament and you need to borrow one of these, I will sell it to you.
Yeah, I bet you will too. It'll be the same price I'm charging you to find a fish at Texoma.
I know.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you coming on, buddy. I had a lot of respect for you. I know I got to fish with you at 10 Killer last year and had a fun time with learning you and John. Yeah. And whenever I see you, man, you're always hollering at us saying, "Hey, Rock, hey, Dan, how's it going?" So you're well looked upon on all the tourneys and stuff, and everybody talks about Big Mike. So it's an honor to have you on tonight, sir.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. And
yeah, thanks for joining.
It's always fun. And the man with the 20-foot trailer, I'll teach you how to back it up down the ramp, man. We'll get there. You got four-wheel drive for a reason, brother.
Not only is it the 20-foot, not only the 20-foot trailer when we're all out on the water at the small lake. I mean, Guthrie is kind of small. And then here comes the 20-foot trailer, and he's got that damn 18-wheeler diesel turbo going, rah, 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 and they're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. But yeah, hey, I enjoyed it, guys. Like I said, I enjoy fishing with everybody. I try to make it fun. I try to, my big goal is not to be the best, but to at least have fun. I have my own set of standards that I try to fish by every day. And I tell people, as long as you meet your standards, you've done the best you can. And my deal is never finish last and always catch one fish.
Yeah,
you know how hard that can be
sometimes? Catch the one fish, that's where I'm at.
How hard that can be, what? Catch one fish?
Catch one fish, yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a bass or not. As long as you catch one fish, it doesn't matter.
Well, but see, even last year and this year, I've had a problem even catching catfish. but I've caught a lot more bass this year, so I'm actually having a much better year. So
You throw that square bill, you catch more.
well, apparently square bill catch walleye because my partner Barry caught one, and Papa Rock there catches a lot of them.
Square bill will catch everything.
Yeah. They don't discriminate with a square bill.
They do not.
And the damn large sand bass. Whew. But hey,
Yeah, see that I need to go out and just have a good time with. I'm about to go grab my beetle spin and head out to Latonka. But Big Mike, if anybody that's watched or listening and you don't know Big Mike, you need to go to some of these events and you'll know Big Mike when you see him. It's called Big Mike for a reason. And no, he's not fat. He's just a presence.
He's a horse.
But get to know Big Mike. You were one of the first people I ever met. And before my very first tournament with OKC KFC, I think I called you 3 times that week.
You did.
Like, I was like, what, how do I do this? And how do I do that? And you're like, dude, relax. What do you have confidence in? I said, a spinnerbait. Even though it was February 10th at Shawnee Twins, you're like, throw a spinnerbait. Well, guess what? I caught one fish that day, and it was on a spinnerbait, and you were on the dam throwing a Ned rig all day. I had a great day. I enjoyed my day.
Yeah,
so
that's what it's about. You got to share your knowledge, guys, and that's another thing. Before I let you guys get out, before I get out of here, go to the gym. I always keep sharing your knowledge. I got ostracized on a social post one day. My home lake is Langston Lake, and I fish there probably used to every other weekend. Always out there for 8-10 hours a day. And some new guy didn't have a clue on how to catch a fish out there. So he asked questions in the chat, and I said, hey, tie this bait on, go to this cove, target this structure, and you'll have some success. And everybody's like, you shouldn't be telling him that. You shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. You're just giving away all the sauce to that lake. And I said, look, man, if we can't share nature and teach people how to fish or help them fish, then what are we doing it for? So that guy goes out. He catches the biggest fish of his lifetime, which is probably about an 18-inch fish. He personally messaged me and said, man, I want to thank you. He said, I had never had any success fishing that lake. I was about to give up and just say, screw fishing. He said, you renewed my sense in people and the ability that people would share information. And now I'm hooked for life. And that's what it's about, sharing information, passing it on. We can't keep it forever. And I tell people, all, I think Gene Jensen stole the best line in fishing when he says, teach someone how to fish and all those good things. And he's right. Teach them how to fish, and they'll fish forever. And that's how it is. I would tell everybody what I did, how I did, where I did it. I would take you to the same spot. And like I tell Rocky at 10 Killer, we fished the back of that cove, and I said, come on back here. There's fish back here. I can't catch them. Somebody needs to. And Rocky stuck a big one.
Yeah.
So you're the one that taught me how to fish Ellsworth.
Well, yeah, Ellsworth's another good lake that I
but right now your brush piles are high and dry because they got it drained down. So that's why Ellsworth is not on our list, because I only know those brush piles.
I tell you, I was out there the year after I put those brush piles in, and I went around, didn't catch anything on that side of the lake, but I marked every one of them. I marked them all on my maps. And then OKC went there the following year, and I won the tournament. I caught a 23 1/4 out of a brush pile on a square bill.
Dang.
Yeah, and that was the first time I ever met you, because you guys did the awards at Brahms here in Elgin.
Yes. Yep,
and
sure
I went there and listened in, and you talked about brush piles at Ellsworth, and you were the only one fishing Ellsworth. And I was like, where are these brush piles, Big Mike?
Yeah.
And you showed me. You're like, there's 7 of them in this cove.
Yes. I know where they're at. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I had you go see if they were in the water. And you're like, no, they are not in the water.
He sent me to him, and I went over there. I'm like, these brush piles. And he's like, oh my gosh, they were out of the water.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a good time.
They'll be back someday. They'll be back hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and big fish move back in.
So thank you for coming in tonight, and thank you for letting me vent on my rules that I wrote. Yes, I did the majority of the rule writing, and those 2 guys looked it over and said, yeah, you might want to rephrase this or that, or yeah, that whole paragraph looks good. And unfortunately, the paragraph that they said looks perfect was the one that fit me and Barry. So,
hey, it happens.
Yep.
I may start pushing for a new terminology for the end of the tournament is final photo capture time instead of lines in or lines out.
I put it for you this week. I put it in there. Did you not see it?
Yes.
We got to call that the Dale rule. That's the
Dale. It's good. Yeah.
Let me bring that up.
Figure something out there.
Let me bring that up real quick, Mike, before you go. Tourney info. Come on.
Yeah, I did notice on the Tourney X. Well, I do have Tourney X up here. I can probably
lines. Yeah, launch at 6, lines out at 6:30. Lines in at 6:30, lines out at 3:00. Final photo stamp time 2:59:59.
Yeah,
that's the Dale rule.
The Dale rule.
The Dell and Barry, the Motorhead rule.
That's right.
There you go.
So
you call you Knucklehead instead of Motorhead.
I don't even want to get to that point. So at 2:55, I'm folding up things and.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was one of those times that I was having such a good day, and Barry and I were so close. Neither one of us thought to quit. And it's probably the first time that I literally at 3:00 when my alarm went off, I was pulling my lure out of the water.
Yeah.
And because it was lines out. And as I'm lifting my drop shot out, I look over at Barry and his pole's bent over. I'm like, hell yeah, we just got second place. No, we didn't. So you keep a hold of that plaque for me.
What was that on the sports years ago? We were kids, the agony of defeat.
Yes, right. That's exactly what it was.
By Big Mike.
If you'd have been at the boat ramp and when it got disallowed and then it just, it was just like coming down that ski ramp. He starts falling. That was us at the ramp when it got kicked out. And then as you guys started showing up, we just started tumbling down the hill. It just got worse and worse with every one of you showing up.
Yeah.
So
it was good times though.
Heck yeah, buddy.
Thanks again for coming in and
no problem.
We will definitely have you on again, probably when I beat you at a tournament, so I can then gloat.
That's fine.
He said that's fine.
Yeah, well, so he knows he's never getting invited again, probably. Right. Yeah, he's like, I'll never get invited again.
Well, crap, Mike's never coming back if you got it. Dale's got to beat him.
That's right.
All right.
Michael, see you next time, buddy. Have fun at Grand and at Sooner.
I will. I'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully, I can cut some checks and put some money back toward my fishing.
There you go.
Yeah. What's that like?
Put money back. What's that like?
Yeah.
I would ask you, what's retirement like? But wait, you decided.
Yeah, you're about to go away. I'm about to kick you off of this live.
All right, everybody.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. So everybody that hung with us, we appreciate you listening in. If you're listening later, watching later, come join us. We try to do this about every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Go grab you a bottle.
This weekend, get signed up. Wichita Mountain Refuge. Friday night, we're going to do a little cookout there at the Primitive Campground at the corner of 49 and Westlake Road there before you head on in. We'll be right there on the west side of the water.
You going to drop a pin on our Facebook group?
Yeah, I'll drop a pin.
Okay.
I call that my $5 camp. And then we'll just, unless Dan has somewhere else, but we'll just meet back up there for awards with Dan.
Oh, that's where that's where we camped out. Yeah. They had a concert.
Yep.
Right down. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, still drop that pin though.
Yeah.
We'll do. And we'll see everybody Friday night and Saturday and have a great time again like we always do.
Go grab you a bottle of Horns Down, fine apple pie and vodka. And love y'all. See you in a couple of weeks.
See you soon, buddy.
Yeah. Bye.
Keep drinking it. You're going to be well by Friday.